Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. You are tuning in once again with me, Jewel Wilson Murphy, and I am here with All Photos Considered. And you remember what happens when we are here together. If you mention my name, Jewel Wilson Murphy, you get 10% off your photo and media need. I know that it's prom time, it's wedding time, it's just time to take pictures of your families. So make sure you consider All Photos Considered so you can get that 10% off just by mentioning my name. And so today I want to talk a little bit about the word no. And I'm asking All Photos Considered to close his ears, because most of the times when I ask a question, I want him to say yes. And so based on the conversation I had last night, I came up with the idea to let's talk about the word no. So most of us understand why no is so important, that we should say no oftentimes. But as human beings, we often say yes in situations because we don't want to let people down, because we don't want to let our own selves down. But sometimes saying no is very hard. But can I tell y'all something? As we are walking in Mental Health Month, we have to remember that saying no is an overall benefit to our mental health. It sets boundaries, and it also assists us with other behavior standards. So maybe we can talk about just a little bit why we say yes. Oftentimes we say yes because we don't want to be involved in confrontations. We want to avoid confrontations. Most people do not enjoy confrontations. And so that's why we'll say yes to things that we really want to say no to. Oftentimes we want to please others. I think if I say yes, that means that I'll be more popular. I don't want to be seen as a yes man or a yes woman. So a lot of times we say yes because we want to keep the peace and we want to avoid conflict. Then the other thing I found in reading and studying, there's a thing called FOMO. We fear that we may miss out, fear of missing out, FOMO. So we say yes because FOMO is a very real thing, and it makes us feel satisfied when we say yes. Then sometimes we say yes because of compulsivity. Say that word 5 times back to back, because we just are naturally compelled to say yes, and then we become overdoers. We overdo it by saying yes. And that's kind of where I find myself, that I was talking last night, and I said that I need to come up with a standard to really process the question before I say yes. Because oftentimes people ask you to do something and you know that you can do it, so you say yes. But by the time it's time to do it, you feel like I could have done something else, or I have so many other things to do, so I should have said no. So there's power in saying the word no. There's real power in the saying no. I think it's important for us to understand that if we say no, it's okay. When we say no, and when we say no more often, it allows us to shift our brain in thinking in different ways and reacting to different situations that help us to be more settled, to be less chaotic in our mind. So this is a tremendous effect on our mental wellness. It follows us and it helps us be valued or value more of the things that we're doing. So the power of saying no is so important. It allows us to set boundaries, and boundaries, since boundaries are really important in mental health treatment and in mental health crisis and critical thinking, but it's just day-to-day living. Learn to say no. Again, I've asked All Photos Considered not to listen, because sometimes I want a yes. Well, most of the times I want a yes. So even if we're being able to implement the word no in our mindset, and oftentimes we've always, well, most of the time, maybe not always, we find ourselves in situations where we said yes, and it might not have been the best decision. Let's try to do a no. Let's try to do a no checklist. And so what does that do? That oftentimes allows us to just take a moment, relax, and think about the thing that is being asked of you. Think about the thing that you may want to do, but you may not have time to do. There are tips that help us learn how to say no. We can rehearse, We can rehearse the idea. We can ask ourselves questions, like, is it going to be beneficial to me? Is it going to cause me stress? Be honest. Be honest about whether or not you want to do that thing. Offer alternatives. If you can't do it, maybe you know somebody who has time and may be willing to do it. Contact that person and ask them if they are able to, and then put them in the yes place instead of yourself. Do not rush. And this is what I thought about last night. Do not rush to answer the question. There's no need to say no to everything, but we have to give ourselves time to think through the consequences of committing. And then we have to properly give a response. Our mental health is the key. So in everything that we do, we want to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. Remember a couple weeks ago, we talked about self-care. Remember last week, we talked about this being Mental Health Month, where we take a whole month to just talk about and reflect on and make sure that we're setting the boundaries that we need in our lives to protect ourselves, to protect our mental health. But not only our mental health, it also helps protect our emotional health. And those are two in one. Basically, we want to make sure that we're okay. So if you are a person that usually says yes, and then have a conversation with yourself about why you said yes, these are some tools that you can take away. Make sure that the yes is a yes that is comfortable to you. Make sure that the yes is a yes that helps you do what you need to do for yourself. Make sure that the yes that you say does not cause you any grief, chaos, or anything that's going to be unhealthy for you. There's power in saying no. You don't have to say no to everything. You have to say no to the things that make you uncomfortable, to the things that make you run crazy to get things done. I'm talking to me first. And you have to say no to those things that are not conducive for your well-being. There's power in saying yes also, because we want to be a team player. We want to help others. We understand the importance of prioritizing our mental health. We understand the importance of prioritizing our physical and our emotional health. So just remember that there's help that can help you. Write it down. Journal. I say that all the time because I think when you see it, it's easier to say it. Have a great week.